Single make cup cars are one of everyone's favorite kind of motorsport. Multi-class racing is another total favorite. I wonder what happens when you mix the two together. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round one of the Cup Car Cup here on ACC on Racing Club International. Tonight we're at South Africa at what I believe is a deeply underrated circuit and a personal favorite. We are at Kyalami, 16 turns and 2.814 miles of racing surface, known for all kinds of motorsport, and hopefully soon in the future, Formula One will be coming back. My name is Jack Mays. Returning to the RCI comms booth for the first time in a long time is Mr. Austin Devonshire. And of course, we have none other than Ash Bibby as our race director, our man on the cams, trying to shout in our ears and distract us from the job at hand. Austin, it is a pleasure to be sharing a box with you for the first time, and may I be the first to welcome you back.
Thank you so much, Jack, and it's great to be back. It's been a long hibernation. It seems to be kind of the theme for me commentating with RCI. But yeah, I'm back for this championship. And as you said, multiple makes of cup cars we don't see very often here. And I think, you know, in the background, Ash was shouting, you know, what happens when you combine them all? Racing. I think that's what we might be getting. But right now we're opening up with. So it's just Ash again, but so guys, Ash is already at it.
He's got you. Welcome back. Welcome back to the box. We're up into qualifying now. It's a 15-minute wide open session. We've got the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Evo 2s, the Porsche 911 992.2 Cup cars, and the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo cars, all sharing the circuit at the same time, doing different lap times, different levels of pace, different levels of comfortability across the field, and a really I'd say a reasonable showing of 18 cars so far in round one, because we talked about it briefly, Austin, right before we went live. ACC's, well, it's on borrowed time.
Yeah, it's on its last legs. It's certainly not meant to have gone on as long as it did. I remember when the endurance racing update came out, and you know, I remember the developers saying something along the lines of, the game was never meant to have endurance racing driver swaps or anything like that. It was just something that we could add. It was experimental. We added it. It worked really well for a while. But yeah, we are starting to look at other options, and it's going a bit of the way of the dodo, really. So it's quite sad to see. I've got a lot of memories on this game. A lot of friends I've made on there. A lot, you know, starting, you know, joining RCI. That was a big thing too. But yeah, it's certainly going that way.
Yeah, and I can say, at least from us, unless something changes, maybe some special events in the near future, this is our penultimate season here for a Monday. It will be the Cup Car Cup, or as I would like to call it and have been calling it, the Cup Cup Cup. Get it? Because there's 3 Cup cars. It's the Cup Cup Cup. I'm really funny. I'm really funny.
That's awful, Jack.
But there will be one more season after this. I am not allowed to share the details on what it will be, under threat of serious injury from Kevin Boss. So I will just tell you that this is not the end of ACC, but we are nearing the end. And Austin, I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a fun one.
We need to prepare for that kind of send-off. But for now, as you say, you've got the you've got the Cup Car Cup, the CCC.
Cup. And
I like how we're
already losing our minds.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is great. We're starting off already not talking about the qualifying session that's currently going on, and something that's unusual is Lamborghinis at the top. Yeah, there's actually Ash in our ears again. Yes, no, Ash, there is indeed qualifying going on as we speak. So there's a John Dauber at the top of the 1.662, followed by Andy Boardman, usual suspects at the top of the race like this. Again, talk about the community's been around for a while, drivers have been around for a while as well, some familiar names. But Boardman, 0.228 seconds behind Kumpu with 0.4, about half a second behind. And yeah, no, it's still anyone's kind of qualifying at this point.
Yeah, I'd say the one standout I see immediately is the car currently sitting in 7th place, Aaron Blatt, in a Ferrari 488 Challenge. That's not really expected for that car to be up near the Porsche Cup cars. Generally, it will be this way throughout the season as far as Lambos are the quickest, Porsche's second. 488 Challenge will be dragging a bit behind, but clearly a bit comfortable. I'd say a bit more comfortable than the rest of his compatriots. We did our best to keep it as even as possible. I think the Porsches were the favorites. They have a couple more drivers than the rest of the field. But it is currently this man, the Rebound Racing driver of Joe Dauber, who, well, maybe he's going to come in, fresh fuel, fresh tires, give it another go. He's sitting at the top of the field at the moment. I think it is going to be an all-time fight between the trio currently at the top. As you said, the usual suspects, Dauber, Boardman, and Kumpu, all former winners on Mondays and driving some of the best-sounding racing cars around.
V10s are great, and if I remember correctly, the Lamborghini. It's always great when the commentator says, "If I remember correctly, we should know this," and we've been around long enough to know this. The Lamborghini and the Porsche Cup are actually quicker in a straight line than the GT3 counterparts, if I remember correctly. I know the Lamborghini Challenge races a lot at Monza where they can really push that and utilise that. But the Porsche Cup car's interesting fact about those as well, having no traction control. So a little bit more on it, a little bit more involved to drive, but a little bit more squirrely as well.
Yeah, I think that's just sort of the theme of Cup cars. It's like, it's the entry level as you're trying to get into bigger, GT3, GT4 machinery. But they tend to be more difficult to drive than a GT3 and a GT4 car. They lack of certain creature comforts, like you said, traction control, lack of downforce as well. But no, you're certainly on the money. These cars are all quicker than their bigger brother GT3s. I know for a fact the 488 Challenge is the fastest of the bunch. It is the most powerful of the bunch, but has the least downforce, so therefore is the slowest around circuit. And this man, Adam Krekske, every time I'm going to see him on screen, I'm going to shout him out, because that is a 13-year-old driver right there, and his pace, well, it's going to speak for itself, and also hopefully we'll get some examples of his level of racing maturity. I've seen him be more patient than people 4 times his age and show great strides, and well, it makes me feel disappointed that I A, didn't start sim racing earlier, and B, am super slow compared to this young man.
That's why we're in the box and not on the track there, Jack, isn't it? That's
always
speaks for itself. But no, that's incredible. That is, as you said, it shows a lot of maturity, and again, to get involved in a community like this, kind of put yourself out there. That's huge. I could never have done that at that age. That's incredible.
We are getting a very important question in the YouTube chat. Is, do any of the Cup cars have cup holders?
Oh, that's a question. I mean, looking on the onboard, this is with the Lambo. I'm not seeing any cup holders. So that's really, really bad. For when you've got your latte. I wouldn't want to be in the Lambo.
No, cup holders are pretty much top of the priority if I were building a race car. What's the point if you can't have a nice beverage with you? Let's check the Ferrari 488. I feel like that'd be the one that would have cup holders. It's the most road car-like, but unless they're beneath that sort of control panel, which I don't think I've ever seen a Ferrari have cup holders there, I think that's 0 for 2 so far on cup holders.
Air vent, you could take it out and put a cup in there, maybe, but it's gonna be sideways. It's gonna spill everywhere. I wouldn't want to do that.
That would not work, I don't think.
You see, that's where you just don't have the big thing,
If you have a nice sealed water bottle, Porsche Cup this time doesn't have the cup holders.
Air vent.
I'd say the tube could work. Maybe a bit flexible. You can sort of bend it a bit upwards. Maybe looks a bit skinny, so maybe like a Red Bull can. Inside the tube.
Let's just fling some balls at our drivers and tell them to deal with it. But no, it doesn't seem like. But that answers the question. There is no cup holders in the cup cars, sadly.
And that's why people are moving away from ACC. It has nothing to do with the driving physics. It has nothing to do with the player count. It's the simple fact that there's a lack of cup holders in the race cars. So if anyone tells you otherwise, they're not looking out for you. They're lying, pretty much.
No, that's it. Nothing to do with as you say, nothing to do with anything else. It's the lack of cup holders. Looking at And looking at the order whilst we've been talking, nothing really has changed at the top. And there's only 1 minute 20 left, so it seems to be that everyone's just kind of got out quickly. Maybe the track slowed down over time. We're still on an optimum track. 25 air temp, 30 degrees Celsius track temp with no wind. So should still be a fairly quick track, but yeah, no one has gone faster than when we were talking about this earlier. The 141.6 is still the pole sitting time with a minute left to go.
Yeah, everyone who's really doesn't have a lot of time to start their final lap. I'd say if they're in, midway through the lap, they should have time for another one. And this guy, Ted Edwards, you don't see him often in a race car. He's most famous for being our broadcaster on Fridays over on LMU, a spat of commentary and the occasional driving effort. He's come back for the Cup Car Cup, and that's awesome to see. And I know, and I will probably mention them later on and throughout the series, one of our other RCI greats, Mike Redford, has made season predictions. He made it before the start of round 1, so we'll see how well those go on. But I will say Ted Edwards should get the season podium. That's all I will say for now.
That's a bold statement. That's a really bold statement. Tedwards, I mean, he's a strong driver. Always has been a strong driver. Redford pulling into the pits. Tedwards going for a little bit of a lawn mowing in the background. I did see that. Everyone saw that, Ted. And Lily Armstrong again not going to be able to on final lap, about to finish, but again no real change at the top. Still the same times, and I think that's going to be the starting order, really, Jack.
I think so. Yeah, I'm looking on the timing screen. Lily's definitely up on their time a bit, about 4/10. Miso Stubna entering pit lane. The tricky thing about this pit lane is you sort of have to turn in a little bit late because you might clip the wall otherwise. But Mo Platt now coming, getting ready to cross the line. They are on a slight improvement. They put some distance between themselves and the rest of their field, but stays 7th place with that. I really think it's Lily Armstrong as the last driver who is on any amount of improvement. Can they jump above the likes of Peter Varga, maybe above the likes of Adam Krekske? We will see. Getting a little squirrely out through Cheetah, and this is where I get to mention those are some pretty fast hands, some suspiciously fast hands, and the fastest hands in the West. Lily Armstrong drives on a gamepad and jumps up to 8th position.
Yeah, that was always going to be a bit quicker as well. You saw for the final corner again, demonstrating the fact that there's no traction control, demonstrating that gamepad, and it's just how squirrely they got through Cheetah as well. We've got Farkas Patrick coming through to finish their lap as well. They're currently in 17th. Is that going to be an improvement? It will not be, and that just about sets the order.
Yeah, interestingly, I think we had lost a driver briefly off what was showing, but Joe Dauber stays on pole. He set that early lap and nobody really could beat it. He made a minor improvement towards the very end, but stays where he feels. And also, Joe Dauber doesn't qualify all that much. Maybe he should do that more. This might be the first time I've seen him qualify in a Monday champ in a while. Andy Boardman joins him on the front row, also in a Lamborghini. Nico Kumpu 3rd, Matt Malcolm 4th, Thibaut Roskam 5th, and Miso Stubna is on pole in the Porsche Cup class with Emo Platt right behind on pole in the Ferrari 488 Challenge class. I say they're by class. Everyone's getting ultimately scored all together and going to qualify all together. So we'll see how that all ends up. A little bit of chaos, I assume. Lily Armstrong, we just saw, qualified in 8th. Adam Krekske 9th. Varga 10th. Tedwards in 11th. Mike Redford 12th. Kevin Boss 13th. Bushatara in 14th. Svinkinus 15th. Elaranta 17th. And Patrick in 17th, though we have now, I see, have lost a car. Maybe someone disconnected at some point during qualifying. Maybe they'll come back. They have about 5 minutes to get here, Austin, before we go green. So they might well be starting from the back of the grid, but hopefully they decide to join us.
Yeah, I did see a Lambo loitering at the bottom there, so I wonder if that's the car that we're having issues with. But no, hopefully we'll see them back. It's never fun to see anyone drop out, but as you said, still 5 minutes to go until we kind of unleash chaos upon South Africa. And usually this is chaos. I've been here long enough again to know that at Kyalami, it's turn 2, actually. For turn 1, it's that fast kick, but turn 2 usually presents itself some issues in terms of incidents and crashes that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and I think it'll be extra spicy because not all of these cars will be launching at the same exact speed. To a certain degree, they have different levels of acceleration and different braking points. So let's say the likes of Emmo Platt up in seventh in the Ferrari 488 might jump a couple positions and then suddenly, oh, we're braking alongside the Lamborghinis. And we'll see how it goes on, but I wish them all the best of luck in not ruining their season before it's begun. It is worth mentioning a unique format for the first two rounds, two half-hour sprint races, no mandatory stops, no mandatory anything. It's put your foot down and don't lift off until you meet God or the checkered flag, as we say in the States. But that's another reason, Austin, to get excited for this series is something a little different.
Yeah, it's just half an hour of just scramble, basically. It's no, it's always good. It's sometimes, having the mandatory stops does kind of throw in a little bit of a strategy mix. It does make it a little bit interesting to watch. No, it just also makes it very interesting to watch. It introduces a lot of strategy, a lot of tire management, things like that. But sometimes it's just fun just to watch these cars do what they do, and that has its own charm. I love that lion livery. That's actually really quite impressive. I see. This reminds me of these liveries like back in the '90s. You used to see these a lot. Kind of these branded. These with all the brands on. It's you see it a lot in NASCAR, I believe. You know more about that, Jack.
I admittedly actually know very little about NASCAR. I know significantly more about European sports car racing because I may be red, white, and blue, but I like turning right. Sorry.
Yeah, it does the right turns. No, that's fair. That's I feel like I've embarrassed myself a little bit there, Jack. I'm sorry. I'm not.
No, I didn't. I could have made something up, but no, I'm not an oval specialist like the other well-known commentator that's around here, Jesse Lee. If he was here, oh, he would have words to say about me. Probably not very nice ones. Say you're not a proper American, or something of the like, and I'd probably agree with him. But no, I definitely know what you're talking about. Sort of the more unconventional and wild-looking liveries, and the lion on Thibaut Roskam's Lamborghini is even more in place at a circuit like Kyalami. We are in Africa after all, and well, maybe there's some lions in the stands. I don't know. And but always the patented Ash Bibi drone grid walk showing us what these cars look like up close before they end up bashing into each other. And all the championships and wins for the top. Mike Redford's car. We just saw Ted Edwards. That's an old livery, and if those of you who have keen eyes look at the winglets, you'll see something that, well, it's a little bit illegal, and that's all I will say about that. And a classic Kevin Boss wheelie slow special. I've driven under that banner quite a bit in Le Mans Ultimate, and the very hidden. That's a cereal brand. I just want to make that clear. Nothing else going on YouTube. We keep it family friendly. Monster Cox. But we're getting ready to roll forward into our formation lap. We'll get two of these, interestingly enough. So I don't know. Maybe we'll need a different sort of drone tour from Ash Bibi in the interim. Maybe I don't know, we could get a closer look at the cars. Maybe he'll run us down the pit lane. I don't know, see something special. He's a man with some good ideas. Rounding up the back of the field is Farkas Patrick. Seems maybe a little bit off the pace in qualifying, but hopefully under race trim we'll find a bit more comfort. It's a green light to start up the formation lap. And Austin, any early race predictions? He's having some internet issues. He's had some internet issues, of course. Something's got to go wrong at the season start, so hopefully we'll have him back here shortly. To answer my own question, I predict chaos. And beyond that, I think the finishing order in the Super Trofeo category, I really don't know. It's going to be one of our top three between Joe Dauber, Andy Boardman, and Nico Kumbu. They are legends in RCI, legends on ACC, super, super quick. And I'm sure it will give us a grand fight over the next 30. And I mean, if Emil Platt stays out of trouble, he's in a good position. He's got a couple of Porsches in between himself and the next fastest Ferrari. Could help him on the race starts. If he gets tangled in the business, it could be a bit tricky. And, well, it may be personal favoritism, but I would like to see a victory come out of Lily Armstrong, the fastest hands in the West, on the top step. But we are missing a couple of drivers. And one I know for a fact that someone specifically is noticing is Mr. Raphael Huell, part of Mike Redford's championship predictions. He was involved, and him not being here in round one might throw a bit of a wrench into the plans. Caleb Kerrigan says that Emil Platt's going to be leading into turn one, and I see where he's coming from. The power differential between the three classes are a bit. Well, I was actually surprised. I looked at it earlier today because I was curious. For those of you who like numbers, the Porsche 992.2 Cup cars have about 520 brake horsepower. The Super Trofeos, 620. The Ferrari 488 Challenge, 670. And the least amount of downforce. So it'll be practically a missile off the line. But last sort of moment to grid up, to maybe take a deep breath before the season goes underway. They're going to come through Cheetah Corner in just a moment at the opposite of a cheetah's pace. One could argue a snail's pace, about the slowest they're going to do it all day, all night. Winding it up is Mr. Dauber on the pole. Will he hold turn one? Will there be a massive crash? Find out next week. And by next week, I mean in about 15 odd seconds. Getting ready, waiting for that green light. It should come at any moment. This is race 1 of 2 here at Kyalami. The Cup Car Cup is underway. Joe Dauber taking the pole sitter. We're going to see where Emil Platt does in his Ferrari 488. It's actually not as big of a difference as I was expecting, but the Ferraris are pouncing in the background. There's Peter Vargas stepping out. Joe Dauber into turn 1 cleanly. That's Boardman on the outside and Nico Kumbu holding it. See who ends up ahead. They're still side by side in the background, actually. Andy Boardman has snuck on through, and Joe Dauber, the man who rarely ever qualifies, puts it on pole and has an excellent race start. But no big accident. I can tell you that, at least into turn 2. And this is where it's going to be super tricky. Everyone having to judge not their own braking points, but maybe sort of, I need to brake differently because there's a Ferrari in front of me. I need to be prepared because the Lamborghinis might step it up better. But Emil Platt remained in 7th. Not the missile I was expecting. There's Miso Stubna side by side with Thibaut Roskam. And we'll see if he holds it up through sunset. I think he does. Just about, and into the braking zone. I'm not sure which of these cars have the better brakes. I think it's fairly even between the Porsches and the Lamborghini. However, the Ferrari, not so great. So Emil Platt didn't get that memo because now he's going to be the next to think about it on the outside of Thibaut Roskam. And filing through a symphony of cylinders. We've got 6, 8, and 10 cylinders all over the circuit. Peter Vargas a little bit deep there, and that's Kevin Boss, who just snuck through. A little bit of bump drafting from Osiel Aranza onto the back of Mike Redford into the final corner. Not wanting to see that through Cheetah. That's a little bit sketchy, and wide goes Varga. He sneaks back through onto Kevin Boss, and now it's Mike Redford. He's getting a massive push from Osiel Aranza down the main straight. They're 3 wide into the braking zone for turn 2. Redford goes very late and very deep, but I think he gets the move done. Here's Kevin Boss trying around the outside. Goodness me, they're 2 by 2. Vargas just trying to hold on to whatever he can get at this point. This car's absolutely everywhere. Mike Redford from the back ends up getting a couple of positions. And Boss on Varga yet again. The straight line speed of these Ferraris are absolutely no joke. Just wait for the season finale at Monza. It will be amazing. Kevin Boss staying ahead of Peter Varga. And there's Ted Edwards actually making a move there and sort of having to worry about it. A couple of Porsches, Bouchetera and Svinkinus, they qualified towards the back of the grid. They haven't been able to make any early moves, early doors, and honestly, the field is not spreading out as much as I was expecting in these opening few minutes. There's Ted Edwards going a bit deep into turn 10 there. Leia Kopp and another Porsche on his inside, tucking back in. You're not really going to be making a move on a straight there, Sunshine. You got to do it in the corners. Peter Varga trying to go around the outside of Kevin Boss into turn 13. He's running a bit deep. Edwards deep as well in the background, and not working too well for Varga. He qualified supremely well, but just this race start, maybe things getting the better of him. I'll be on board with him. And Austin, I believe, are we back now? You missed a heck of a start. Things are really popping off here.
It seems like I have missed it, but I am back. I'm so sorry about that. It's just a lot of lag and losing internet connection on my end. So yes, no, I am back. I'm back, Jack. Sorry.
No worries, my friend. These things happen. We're glad to have you back, but no chaos. If you missed it, I mean, you can see everyone's lined up. Nobody's too far back. Nobody's too far ahead. A great start from Dauber, and the 488s are absolutely slashing it out. And it's been flip-flop all the way through, and Redford made up a couple of positions. He's now leading this four-car fight. Fortunately, though, I think Austin's still having issues. I feel so bad. He's on his comeback story. He's back in the first time in the box forever, and the Lord of Internet connection just not letting him have his way. Here's Boardman. I've been looking at this on the Delta on the timing tower. He hasn't let Nico Kumpu get away from him. These two are, for as long as I've been a commentator, these two are Monday rivals, and they've traded places so many times. They traded championships, and they usually don't have anybody hanging around with them, but they actually have somebody hanging around ahead of them. As Mr. Joe Dauber, you can see what that 2.5 second gap looks like, but it's going to be a fight. It's going to go on, I think, for the full half hour, and it's honestly, I could take a guess at who between the two are going to come out ahead, but I've seen them drive so many disciplines in ACC, and they're quick, super quick, and great fighters, great drivers, great rivals, but nothing between them at the moment. But as the lap times are sort of starting to come in, it seems like the likes of Joe Dauber, he's really the only ones in the 1 minute 41, but it seems about a low 42 for the leaders in the Super Trofeo. The Porsches really more around, they're really only about a second slower there or thereabouts between the quick ones and the 488, another second behind that. So really only 3 seconds spread the field. And we're now joined by the emergency backup and a wonderful human being, Mr. Callum Kerrigan. Welcome to the box. Welcome to race 1. How are you doing?
Hello, Jack, and hello everyone on YouTube and Twitch. It's nice to hop in on what's been a while since I've been in the comms box, and oh my god, what a race it's been so far. That lap 1 and lap 2, I've got to be honest, I thought it was going to be an absolute disaster, but that cooked up some phenomenal racing between the classes.
Yeah, it's really been spectacular. I think just now the field is starting to get spread out. Immediately introducing the importance of qualifying, I think, is You got these 488s challenging. Here's Varga trying to go down the inside of Kevin Boss in turn 2. He's got alongside, but the track sort of starts to go back the way of the driver on the outside. They're holding it together. He's going to go for a late move. No, he isn't. Can't do anything too desperate. His mirror is all full of OCL Arata. He's coming back. There's a little bit of movement. There's a little bit of space there. Oh, they're going to go too wide into sunset. And, oh, contact. A bump and a shove from Varga. Here comes OCL Arata and Callum. Oh, he's letting him back through. I think that's the right move there. But these challenge cars, it seemed like they were not the favorite of what people were signing up in. But if it's any indication here, Kyalami, they are the best class to be in.
I have something to admit here, Jack. I think I distinctively remember once driving these cars and saying I will never ever drive them again. I did not enjoy them. I thought they were absolutely horrendous. But right now, I'm clearly being showcased how fun they can be and good racing. They clearly provide us with kind of instantly. Here, just braking on the grass. You just get that right rear tyre in the grass there. Really unsettled the car and just lost it in braking, going off. Has recovered well, slips it back into P14. That's P4 in sort of the Porsche Cup class.
Yeah, and wait a minute. I've just noticed something. Joe Dauber's gone. He is no longer leading the race. I did see that we had a DNF a little bit ago, but I was trying to figure out who it is. Nico Kumpu is now taking the lead of this race. I'm going to assume it's a sudden disconnect for Joe Dauber. I didn't see any yellow flags, didn't see any dropping down the order, and I feel like I know Joe well enough, and Callum, I'm sure you'd agree, he's not the one to just suddenly rage quit from a race.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It'd be very, very uncharacteristic from Joe to see that. And we can only presume it's a disconnect. Maybe he'll hop into the YouTube or in our Discord chats to confirm. But he was off to a fly. I think 2.5 seconds ahead last time I checked on a race which I know that you've pointed out. He actually decided to qualify in, clearly showcasing the bucket loads of pace he had, and then getting that unfortunate disconnect is a real tarnish on what would have been an incredible start to the season.
Yeah, the good news is for him, I suppose, is, well, I don't know if he could make it back before race 2. I don't know how that would work, but perhaps he could return to the server and maybe line up for our next half hour. It's kind of unbelievable that we're only 10 minutes into to race 1. It feels like it's been an age, and it's been one filled with action. There's the red Ushitara. He was thinking about it. They've sort of, him and Svinkinus have been stuck back behind these 488s for the entire race at this point. They didn't qualify super well, and I think they're having a tough time to get past them. Maybe they are a bit themselves off the pace, and when they might be going for a move down a street, the 488s have an extra 150 horsepower, so it doesn't really make a difference. He's close all over the back of Ted Edwards, but you see that they've entered the traction zone. There's about 3, 4, 5 car lengths in between.
Yeah, it's got to be really frustrating for these cars that are stuck behind sort of another class of car. I'm looking at sort of the Thibaut Roscam, Lisa Stubner. There was a time where Stubner was ahead of Roscam, and Roscam was just sitting behind that Porsche, the Land Rover being a naturally quicker car than the Porsche Cup car. And he was just bleeding time to Matt Malcolm there. That must be extremely frustrating for him. But also looking to Lily Armstrong, dropped 3 seconds back from Emo Plata, which is a testament to how incredible the job he is doing in that Ferrari challenge. But if Lily Armstrong sort of gets on the back of Emo Plata there, he's not going to be able to get past because of that straight line pace that the Ferrari has, so he almost has to hope for a mistake. So these sort of cars that are in between sort of different classes are really, really sort of having a less than ideal time, and probably quite a challenging and frustrating one.
Yeah, and I think that with that being said, the fact that Emo Plat is still where he started effectively, granted he's gained a position now that we've lost to Joe Dauber, but he qualified ahead of Lily Armstrong. He's still ahead of Lily Armstrong, and it's just going to serve him so well. Because even if the likes of Redford or El Aranza or these two that are battling, still Kevin Boss and Peter Varga just get their foot in, they have to clear 2 Porsche Cup cars to be able to even challenge the current leader in the Ferraris. But it's Varga, and now it's a little bit of a slide there for Ted Edwards on the exit, and they're getting it. Oh, Joe Dauber, he's reappeared, so he's back, though unfortunately he's not going to get his lead back after that. Maybe he'll drive back on circuit, maybe he'll get some points, but hopefully, Callum, I'm crossing my fingers, that means he'll be able to participate in race 2.
Yeah, I do think that will be him securing his position in race 2. I would like to see him go out on the racetrack and he's complete 8% race distance in order to secure points. And in a championship where you've got the likes of Kumpu, Boardman, Malcolm, Roskam, Dolber, and some others that haven't turned up today, it's going to be an extremely competitive championship over these 5 rounds. Any points really going to benefit Joe throughout the course of this championship. And I do think with the DC and the comeback in, it wouldn't surprise me if he's starting at the back of the grid for race 2, potentially coming through the Ferraris, and well, we see it time and time again, Joe Dauber at the back of the field, trouncing through the field, as you'll see all over our sort of social media, as Joe Dauber providing content for us week in, week out. But against these Ferrari challenge cars, pacing out down the straight line, that would be something I'd love to see, but 2, a real challenge from Mr. Dauber. I think I just saw Varga going side by side with Boss again into this final corner section.
I think so. Every single time we get back to turn 13, we get back to the Crocodiles, these two are going at it. And Redford and El Aranta being the sort of big gainers out of this, because these two will keep fighting. They'll keep getting to run up the road a bit wide. For Varga there, he's going to lose it on the exit just a bit. But just the way that these cars accelerate out of corners and down this long straight, I have a sense for it. I've watched enough GT racing and enough on ACC that I sort of, oh, wait a minute. Kevin Boss thinking about it. He had a little bit of just outbroke maybe a bit better than he wanted to, and he saw the opportunity on OCL Aranta. Didn't quite get there. But as I was saying, the way these cars just bullet down a straight significantly faster than any GT3 car I've ever seen, it feels a bit weird. It's like, they're slower. They should be slower everywhere then. No, they're just rocket ships that they didn't put enough downforce on. That's sort of the idea of the 488 Challenge Series. It's been nothing but entertaining in the opening 15 minutes of the season.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you can just see these cars dancing around on the rear end through the exits. They're really struggling to get the power down and keep the car in a straight line. And once again, Peter Varga and Kevin Boss practically touching through every single corner on this racetrack. It's something we see week in and week out with these guys. No matter what car, no matter what sort of we're playing on, Peter Varga and Kevin Boss, are locked in for life on these simulators.
Yeah, the new alternate driver Kevin Box here, trying to box out Varga in pretty much everywhere he can. I've driven with Kevin, I've driven against Kevin a lot, and I know his defensive style. It's basically don't defend. Ultimately, it is stay on the racing line, minimize mistakes, because if you over-defend yourself, you lose yourself race time, and you're more likely to put yourself off. It's like, normally you'd think, maybe go defensive in this corner just a bit, maybe a bit defensive on his braking line, but no, he is a force to be reckoned with, and as you know, Callum, from yesterday, not an easy man to pass.
The hardest man to pass on the racetrack. We had a race together last night where I made a few mistakes, got behind Kevin, and once you're behind Kevin, you're not getting back past Kevin. It's the unwritten rule of the RCI ways, really. Once you're racing here on Mondays or in any championship, once you're behind Kevin, you're not getting past Kevin. I just want to quickly turn a bit of attention, Jack, to our sort of lead fight here. Nico Kumpu and Andy Bournemouth. I've been monitoring that gap, and I've seen it as low as within a tenth of a second. The fight at the front is far from done yet. These two are locked in next to each other.
Yeah, they are, and it's been this way since the race started. And were they going to fight like lions regardless of what position it was for? Yes, but now it's not for second place. It's for a race win. So they're just going to fight it even more harder now. And I can confirm Mr. Joe Dauber has re-entered the circuit. He, well, fortunately or unfortunately, is sort of behind the field, so shouldn't get involved too much, but he's, I'm sure, as you mentioned, Callum, trying to get that 80% distance and trying to secure a couple of points. I think we had an incident. I saw there was a car slow at turn 10. I believe it was Mr. Mike Redford, because now he's dropped back from the lead of this pack as Peter Varga is going to try to get on Kevin Boss, but Kevin's got the run on the exit, and it might go back the other way. We're going to see they're too wide, a little bit of touching through the final corner. Kevin Boss comes through, but now there's Ted Edwards on the back. He didn't get the exit he wanted, though. He could have maybe fought to put another move onto Varga, but when you say the fight at the front is far from over, I don't think even once the checkered flag gets waved that these two are going to stop going in.
Absolutely, these two just locked in for the toss of this full 30 minutes, and I can only presume for the next race as well, it will be these two the entire race long. Elarato is absolutely enjoying this, watching the two cars squabble behind him. He's vocalized in the Discord today that he's not feeling too comfortable in these Ferrari challenge cars. So seeing these two battle it out, giving him that time just to breathe forward as Ted Edwards goes into the back of Peter Varga there on exit. Varga a little bit unsettled, trying to get the power down through turn 11. Ted Edwards just coming into the back, maybe a little bit front end damage, which is going to affect his straight line speed, which I'm not sure the Ferrari's got enough of.
I think it needs more. I think they should do a wingless version, and it's just the entire missile. But it does seem like that Ted's been struggling to get good exits, and unfortunately, when he got a good one there was the back of, there's the front of a Porsche facing the wrong direction. I think that's Patrick there on the exit, having a spot of bother through Cheetah, and unfortunately, that's him in pit lane. Actually, that was Bushitara, excuse me, who had that issue, and Farkas Patrick, he's fine, by the way. It's nothing wrong. Not wishing any ill on Farkas Patrick. He's at the back of the field, mind you, but still, I'm sure Callum getting to grips with these cars, and throughout the season, maybe will come back stronger and stronger. They're still going, and I don't think it's going to end ever. I cannot overstate that.
Yeah, it looks like Cheetah has claimed its first victim. I did expect it to claim a few more at this stage in the race, but it looks like we only have one victim of Cheetah in the first 20 minutes of these two 30-minute races. Miso Stadler currently chilling P5 overall, comfortably leading the Porsche Cup class, having a relatively chilled, relaxed time. He's got Emo Plata behind, 3.6 seconds in the Ferrari, so knowing he's not really got much challenge there to disrupt his race. And Tibo Roskam slowly gapping in now that he's got past 8 seconds up the road. I believe this is what we call the John Dalton zone, Joe.
I think this is what we call the John Dalton zone. He may not be on circuit, but he's always around. You find yourself, if you ever find yourself, you know, no one chasing behind and you're not really chasing ahead, that is the John Dalton zone. But yeah, a couple of drivers finding themselves in it, even in a 30-minute race session. I think it is round one. I can probably guarantee that nobody really drives these for fun. Other than this, of course, this is for fun, but nobody is really hopping on ACC to practice the Cup cars. So this is probably the first time some of these drivers have driven these cars, the first time in a really long time since they've driven it. And I think it's just showing in round one, but I figure, as most things go, they will start to get closer, they will start to get quicker as we reach the end of the season, which is only 5 rounds instead of our usual 6. Just trying some different stuff as ACC is reaching its end, and I think we reach the end of the fight for the moment between the Greased Weasel Racing driver of Andy Boardman and Nico Kumbu at the front. Keep your eyes peeled for race 2. They'll do it all again, and I think there he is. I was gonna say, I think Adam Krexke is doing quite well, catching up to Lily Armstrong. Callum, the 13-year-old phenom, is fairly new to RCI, still showing his stripes and showing he's fast enough to keep up with the fastest hands in the West.
Fastest hands in the West, indeed. Krexke was sort of darting around the midfield last championship, and to be on the back of Lily Armstrong all race long, this sort of, well, let me start my flow again, sorry Jack, but to be on the back of Lily Armstrong sort of for this long into the race is seriously impressive. Lily Armstrong is a phenomenally fast driver, as you know, we talk about him, brag about him on a weekly basis due to the fact that he's a pad driver. It's wildly impressive, but even if he was, you know, not a pad driver, this is insanely good pace that Lily Armstrong brings week in, week out. For Krexke to sort of be tagging onto the back of Lily Armstrong at this stage, he's shown great improvement from sort of last season that he joined us to this season, and what we'd love to see is drivers improving.
Oh, absolutely, and it kind of scares me a little bit because since I've now known about Adam Krexke, I've met another young driver who's 12, and I met him at Sebring. We did some time trial stuff at the circuit on one of their sims they had there, and he absolutely whooped me. So I'm scared. They're younger than me, they're less experienced than me, and they're already faster. So who's to say how quick some of the next generation of sim racers is going to be? And thought he might have wanted to go for a move there down at a 10, showing in the mirrors of Lily Armstrong there, but it's running out of time to make a move, only a handful of laps remaining. It's closing in ever closer.
Yeah, and sort of what this is showing at this stage in the race is it's mentally showing Lily Armstrong that, hey, you might have the round here, you might have me in race 1, but I've clearly got the pace, and I'm going to gun for you race 2 if you can't stick in for this first race today.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And young drivers, hungry drivers, all of us want to finish as high as we can, and this is for second in class, so podium's good. What's better than that? Let's go one higher. Let's go best of the rest. It's Varga and Boss still going at it, very wide for OCL Aranta out there, maybe getting a track cut. But no drive-through after that, and hopefully no drive-throughs. It'd be impressive to do it in 30 minutes. But Varga's ahead of Kevin Boss, and I feel like this is sort of the longest he's been ahead of him. They've been swapping positions just so much, and everything's looking clean. Maybe everyone's sort of found their footing here, and maybe relaxing for the final few laps, Callum, and then getting ready to go into race 2. But Krexke says, nope, I'm not interested in any of that. I'm going to get on all over the back of this fella, this Lily Armstrong, whoever the heck this person is, and show him what I can do. Super clean between the pair. I think it's just going to be attacking a mistake, Callum. Lily is not the kind of driver who will give in under pressure, and isn't one that makes mistakes often. So I think it's either going to have to be something of the like, or Krexke is just going to have to send her.
Yeah, 100%. Lily Armstrong is someone that rarely makes mistakes. Absolute, one of the most solid drivers that we have here on a Monday. Just quickly going back to the Varga fight, him now getting past Kevin Boss and seems to be able to get a little bit of a gap, means he's closing in on El Arata, noting that sort of those two were squabbling, but El Arata never quite got away from them, so you never know, we may have a late fight for P2 here in the Ferrari Challenge class. We did just briefly go on board with Nico Kumpu, seemed to have subsided that pressure from Andy Borden, now leading by 3 seconds, with Matt Malcolm 6 seconds behind in P3.
I'm wondering, Callum, I'm going to guess Boardman's sort of disappearing in pace. I think he pushed his tires too hard too early on. I know that Cup cars, they are not designed to really go long distance. Most Cup car classes, most Super Trofeos really run like a 45-minute race is usually what they do. And by the end of those 45 minutes, those tires are absolutely shredded. So if he was pushing full beans on a circuit like Kyalami, degradation is fairly high around here. You might just be looking at, yeah, I think that might have been a bit of indication that his rear tires maybe not as shiny and grippy as they were 28 or so minutes ago. So something for him to think about in race 2. This is such a unique scenario for a Monday. I don't know if this has happened in the past. I have yet to see this before when I've been in the box, but to talk about a race with there being a second one in mind, because usually it's like, oh, made the wrong call. Shucks, I guess I'll, try and not do it at a different track next week. But I don't think they have a second opportunity. So, I mean, if you were Andy Boardman, I would imagine you'd be thinking about how to protect your tires a little better.
Yeah, most definitely. Just sort of taking the learnings from the past 28 minutes during race 1 and try to incorporate them in race 2. They will have Joe Dorber back in the field. We are not 100% sure whether he'll be starting at the front of that field or at the back. Just like I said, Peter Varga now back right tucked in behind El Arata. Is he going to tuck him behind that slipstream? He's got probably 1 or 2 laps left to try and get this done. It's going to be tight, but I think he's got the pace. Clearly got a lot of pace in this Ferrari 488 Challenge to do it, and he doesn't need to make the move. El Arata under pressure makes the mistake, drops back not 1, 2, but 3 places into P5 in class. That is absolutely gutting for what has been such a strong drive by the Finnish driver.
Well, it's my pleasure to welcome you back to the box, Cal. It's my pleasure to welcome you back to Commentators' Curses. Congratulations, you ruined a man's race. How do you feel?
That one will not be making it on the social media pages, so no one's
So I shouldn't bother writing it down then. All right, gotcha. But good news for Peter Varga. He didn't have to work too hard for that one, and I'd say it's a bit bad news for Kevin Voss. I'm sure that he'd be considering, okay, they're going to start getting in a fight now. Maybe I've sort of lost the pace a little bit, but as they start squabbling, maybe I can get closer. But unfortunately, no. Varga is up into second and is in completely clear air as Nico Kumpu has started the final lap of race 1. And, well, he looks comfortable out there, but maybe the dauber of it all sticking in his mind, maybe thinking, I drove a good race. Clearly, I'm winning it. But if Joe Dauber gets to start back on pole position, what am I going to do to get past him? It's something worth considering. But comfortable now, Callum, and looking to start his season off on a high.
Yeah, perfect way to start the season. Had to get a little bit of luck to make it happen, but he'll take the win regardless. I know for a fact him, Joe, and Timo Roskam are most likely in a voice chat right now. So I can imagine there's a little bit of friendly banter going on as well, just as we sort of close into this race, just showcasing sort of that class split. So Roskam to Stubben at 9 seconds. Not going to talk about Emma Plata, he's clearly an alien in this Ferrari, but Koreske to Varga is a 17-second gap. So as the race develops, those gaps did start to fall.
Yeah, and if he doesn't make a mistake through Cheetah, he has not. Nico Kumpu is going to take it. The rebound racing, one of the many rebound racing guys that we have around, and I'm sure Joe Dauber and all of his humbleness is still cheering him on. That was Mike Redford maybe waiting, or somebody was waiting for the leader to cross the line, so he didn't have to do another lap. That was Redford. There goes Boardman across in second, and Matt Malcolm, maybe a bit of a surprise from him. He's going to stand on the podium in race 1. Thibaut Roskam next to come across the line. And a slightly longer wait for the Kermit Motorsports driver of Miso Stubna, who's, well, I was considering doing a Kermit impression there. I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll save that for race 2. He crosses the line to take victory in the Porsche Cup class. Emil Plot is going to take it, as you said, an absolute alien as it appears, coming across the line, followed by Lily Armstrong and Kadam Krekske close behind the young driver, not quite having the pace to get up that extra spot over Lily Armstrong. Here comes Peter Varga. He managed to be the victor in all accounts on that three-way battle. Kevin Boss crosses Ted Edwards next, and Osia Laranta after the mistake at turn 2 doesn't get it. Here's Tatvidis Sfinkinis. First time I've had to say that name, and I think I did okay. Crosses the line in his Porsche, and Farkas Patrick has crossed the line, or did cross the line earlier on, and Dauber Callum, he's the last to come through, and it's a bit of a shame, really. I mean, I like to think of random disconnects and software failure and stuff like that as the equivalent in sim racing to mechanical failures that they get, but it is always a shame to see.
Yeah, gutting to see for Dauber and sort of the start of his championship, but it does sort of amp me up for race 2. He's going to be very hungry to try and climb the field if he is starting at the back, or to secure that race win in race 2.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll have to someone needs to go ask the powers that be, because ultimately I don't know. I sort of, when I think of heats in cup car racing, I think it's like, all right, qualifying, normal race, and then maybe a reverse grid. I know for a fact we're not doing a reverse grid because I don't think there's really a way to set that up on ACC. It would be very cool, and especially given the fact that the Ferraris would be leading the rest of the faster class cars, that would have been hilarious. But I guess we'll see. We have about a 5 to 8 minute break before we get rolling again for race 2, and I hopefully, I'm gonna cross my fingers, Callum, that we don't have any more disappearances in the comms box. The attrition rate is quite high today.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully Austin can come back and join us for race 2. It's been an absolute pleasure having him on the box. And when I was listening actually on YouTube, because I was being a fan on our YouTube and Twitch, watching this race before I hopped in to cover him, I have to say, for someone who hasn't commentated in a while, he'd done a bloody good job until his internet died out. It was really, really good to have Austin back in the box with us.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. He brought such great energy in the first 2 seconds of the broadcast, and unfortunately for him, well, let's just say Ash got him. He said, "How long is it going to take him to break in?" And it took not long at all. And I'm going to reach out to our EM, Mr. Kevin Boss, and ask him how this qualifying is going to work. Because honestly, it's going to be anyone's guess. We'll get an answer soon enough, but I'd like to know so that Kyalami sounds smart before the race actually starts.
Yeah, from sort of previous rounds gone by, I do believe the one qualifying session does set the grid for both races. The big unknown for us is, with Joe sort of disconnecting him rejoining the race, will he be joining at the back of the field or where he qualified, which would be pole position?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get an answer for that soon. And I would hope for Dauber, as much as I'd like to see him run through the field as he's known for doing. I would like to see him start on pole position because, well, he had the pace and it was sort of ripped away from him. It is confirmed that the qualifying grid or the qualifying result will set the grid for race 2. So hopefully the early disconnect for Joe Dauber will not have any effect on that. I believe he ended up finishing about 80% of the race. Maybe not. A short race like that, he was gone for about 4 laps, so I don't know if that's 20% of the race. I'm terrible at math.
Yeah, it's not something I could do sort of quickly as well. I do think he lost about 4 laps in total, so it will be on edge, but whether Kevin Boss is feeling nice today and gives him the points anyway, we will find out. I think there'll have to be some little bit of bribery going on from Joe to Kevin in order to sort that one out. But ready for race 2, Joe. Oh, sorry, ready for race 2, Jack. I'm getting words all mixed up today in sort of my return to the comms box. What are your predictions? That race start was pretty spicy. Do you reckon people are going to be less conservative because they now know what to expect? Or are we going to see sort of a lot more of a comfortable race start like we saw in race 1?
I think it's going to be, I think they're going to have elbows out. I think now that they know what to expect, we might get, they're like, all right, maybe we're a bit more comfortable with the braking points now. We're a bit more comfortable with everything. I sort of think I know where everybody's going to be. What if I broke 10 meters later? Kind of thing is, well, this answers my question that I asked pre-race is what are we going to see from the drone cam with Ash Bibby, and he's not going to give us the tour of the outside of the car. He's going to give us the tour of the inside. So get you really familiar with what it would look like and what all you have to keep you company if you were driving a Super Trofeo Evo 2 car. I wish that were me, quite frankly. I would like to. If anybody has a spare Super Trofeo car that they need someone to drive with no experience, I'd be really happy to do that if it is to do my service. And I think it's bad news for Dauber. Callum, I was sort of giving it a little bit to maybe see if it would update, but I don't think Joe Dauber, unless he disconnected again, is going to be allowed to start this race.
Yeah, that's absolutely soul crushing for someone who had an incredible amount of pace, but right now he is not on the grid. Whether he's had another DC and he can quickly come and rejoin. He's got 2 minutes left to join this session. Going through the grid, Andy Boardman actually starting on pole this time around. You know, TBC with sort of Joe Dauber rejoining. He is going to want to make sure that he leads this race into turn one, do whatever he can to keep Kumpu behind him, so he doesn't have sort of the same as what he had in race one, just staring at the back of that Lamborghini.
Yeah, and you know, he's in the better position now to maybe hopefully keep it over Nico Kumpu. Maybe he learned his lesson about holding it firm on the tires. Here's the inside of the 488 Challenge, and well, it doesn't appear as well rendered or as well detailed as some of the others, but it also looks like it's a bit more snug in terms of driver position. But the same grid as we saw about half an hour ago, save for, well, a couple of cars. It looks like we're also missing a Porsche as well. I think that was, well, I can't remember for sure, but I know that there was a Porsche in that empty grid spot, and I think, Callum, the people such as Kevin Boss, who we're looking at now, are really going to be wanting to make up for any mistakes, do just a little bit better, perform a bit stronger in this race too.
100%, and sort of reignite that battle that he has race in, race out with Peter Varga. Someone I do want to give a shout out to is Ted Edwards. Hasn't done a lot of racing recently. I know he did a LMU endurance race with you over the weekend, but he is, you know, well and truly out of practice. He really came into his own during that race, learned a lot, you could tell, through those 30 minutes. And as he got to the end, it was right on the back of Kevin Boss and looking like, you know, with a lap or two, was ready to shape up and move. So I'm interested to see how Ted gets on with all sort of the learning from race one.
Yeah, I think, you know, he's got the qualifying position. If he can get the slightly better race start, maybe sneak ahead of Varga in the early moments, he could be on for something good there. And I know that, like all of us, please no punterino, Mike Redford's going to be looking to not make a mistake, or as big of a mistake as he made in race one, because he was running in second for a while before it all slipped out of his hands. But we'll see when it goes green, and it's... I've only just realized how strange it is that Andy Boardman, as the de facto pole sitter, is going to be starting on the right-hand side. So he's at a slight disadvantage in starting position because the magnificent Joe Dauber is missing.
Yeah, but ACC doing ACC things, that will correct itself as they sort of line up 2 by 2, so he will get the preferred side of the grid, or the correct side of the grid, as they come around. And as they do come around, Jack, you're a man that has recently left our wonderful comms box and joined a race on our Friday championships. If you were in this championship right now, would you be taking the Ferrari, Porsche, or Lamborghini?
Lamborghini, no question. I'm someone who really enjoys the Lamborghini as a race car. That is my preferred GT3. I've heard it's a bit of a beast on ACC. I was informed to never ever try to drive the GT3 variant, but the noise, the pointiness of the chassis, it's just, I'd pretty much go for it. I think second pick would be the Ferrari though. So on either ends of the grid, basically. Well, I'd be at the back of the grid.
I don't put yourself down here in a brilliant race on Friday, as we are now sort of lining up, everyone getting some temperature into their tyres. It's important to note these Cup cars don't have tyre blankets like we usually do in sort of ACC and the GT3 classes, where the tyres start in a relatively healthy position. These tyres start stone cold, so everyone trying to get some temp into their tyres. I especially feel for the Porsche Cup drivers who don't really have any TC on that car, so really getting some temperature in their rears is absolutely crucial for this race start.
Yeah, the sort of, I think, under practiced, well, I don't think anybody really practices a formation lap, but maybe the under respected is the better word, formation lap. A lot of people are just sort of like, well, why do we do this? We just sort of drive a slow lap and go. It seems kind of pointless. It's all about prep. Prep your brakes, prep your tires as best you can before you go hurtling down towards, in this case, a Kyalami turn 2, and figure it all out from there. But all these guys trying to get it right on the second go, gridding up like they've done this before. It'll be 1, 2, 3 corners between them, and the race starts. Knowing this after race 1, the lights do go green a bit later than I would expect, so everybody maybe thinking about that. It's after you cross the start-finish line for the pole sitter and a new pole sitter. Something we would ever expect to see between a race 1 and 2 like this, Callum, but I think this series is just gonna be a wild card all the way through, and we're going wild in round 1. No better way to start.
You're absolutely right. Kevin Boss has cooked up an incredible selection of tracks for this championship as they line up 2 by 2. Andy Boorman taking the green lights this time, and they're going to be waiting to drop any second. Andy Boorman on the left, Nico Kumpu on the right. Can Andy secure that P1 into turn 1? We are green, green, green. Matt Malcolm gets a phenomenal start, cut straight over to the right to tuck in the slipstream of Nico Kumpu. They are side by side at the front here. Andy Boorman and Nico Kumpu, who's late on the brakes. Kumpu's got an incredible line around the outside. Andy Boorman on the inside. Looks like Kumpu's the outside's going to become the inside, and he secures P1 in the opening set of corners. Nico Kumpu has got what he needed to get done in this early stage. Should hopefully go on to win this race too.
Yeah, that's just a bit unfortunate for Andy Boorman there, and I feel like what he needed was to be leading into turn 1. But he has another chance to overtake him. He knows he can stay with him. Maybe this time he's going to figure out how to overtake him. There's Matt Malcolm looking a bit racy in the rear at the start, stepping into the mirrors. I think, after his podium, he's feeling a little bit good there. Matt Malcolm's trying to race up with some of the legends of the Monday series, but another sedate start. No early chaos like I expected. I'm sure once we cut back to the 488 challenge cars, they'll be all over each other, as we saw there, but everybody's lined up. Nobody's, I think we're just about where we started. No, the only thing I've noticed is Emil Platt has jumped up ahead of the Porsche Cup field. He's now leading over the faster class of cars, so an excellent start for him, and everyone pretty much where they started. Ted Edwards ahead of Varga in the 488, but I think another alien level drive from Emil Platt is coming our way.
Yeah, 100%. What that does to the Porsche class is very, very interesting. The Porsche being naturally quicker than the Ferrari, but the Ferrari an absolute rocket ship in the straight. That means that Miso, Lily Armstrong, and Kretke are all going to really struggle to get past Plata and actually, overall, across the lap, lose pace. And that's going to naturally keep this field really, really bunched up. So I think we've got quite a tasty Porsche Cup race about to sort of brew up here, Jack.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And whoever, if anyone, can get ahead of Emil Platt will put themselves in such a good position. Miso Stubna looking like the closest to do that. And Lily Armstrong, yet again, mirrors full of Krekske. And there's Ted Edwards closely behind, leading, well, the remains of the 488 challenge field. And it's, I promised Grim I'd do this, but he's racing for the My Brown Eyed Ted racing team. And that is Ted Edwards, everybody, that is referring to. And he's not going to be left alone this race. He's going to be kept company. Peter Varga, Racy in race 2. already looking for a move down Ted Edwards. It's left, right, left, and Ted holding him off. Here's Kevin Vaughn sort of seeing the gap open up again. That's not the first time he sort of stuck his nose in like that. He really trusts the people he's racing with. There's Osi Alarata sort of weaving back and forth in the background. Not a great exit from Kevin Voss because of his alternate line. He might need to look on his outside there for Alarata. He's got it on the brakes though, Callum, and it's well, it's almost like a little bit of deja vu, but I'm happy to see that they're still getting after it.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Deja vu, but in all the right ways. It seems like Mike Redford has had a poor start this race, where he was so strong in that early sort of part of race 1. He's dropped right back in this race too, so lots of positions to gain for Mike Redford, but we know he's got the pace to do so. Miso Stubner clearly frustrated being stuck behind this Ferrari. That Ferrari is going to gap him tenfold on every single straight line, but as soon as we go into the braking zone, you'll see Miso rapidly catch up. These Ferraris are probably braking a good 50 to 70, 75 meters earlier than these Porsches into the heavy braking zones.
Yeah, it's almost like a different style of racing required between the two. But Stubna hungry to take this position, not necessarily because it's an extra points playing position, and but because it puts him in a good opportunity. He sort of sets himself up like he's gonna go for a run at turn 10, but he just doesn't have the straight line speed. But he does have the mighty Porsche brakes. He's going to try it around the outside of turn 10, and he's just about done it. Just about ended it. But here's the problem. Watch the Ferrari begin to go. Actually, no. An excellent move for Miso Stubna. Some interclass battling, and now he's got himself in a really good position at the lead of his class.
Yeah, such an important move from Miso Stubner, but that's going to give Lily and Adam Koretsky sort of the drive to go, oh, okay, this is possible. And Lily Armstrong already making Emo Plata go defensive, but now we're on to the big straight. This Ferrari shook off, and Lily Armstrong's in the wall. He spun out too much power through the final corner, and that ATC on the Porsche Cup. Once that rear end steps out, there is no bringing it back. Lily Armstrong down into P3, dropping into the Ferrari Challenge classes, while Ted Edwards is making a move on Adam Kresge in the foreground. This is some truly inter-class battling here. I do not want to be in a Porsche Cup car right now.
Yeah, I sort of figured that, you know, at least looking at the chat before this race and sort of looking at the stats of the cars, that the Ferraris would be the butt of the joke here on circuit, but it just seems like the Ferraris are, well, the Porsches are the butts of the joke, and the Ferraris are basically bullying them. There's Vargo a bit wide there, keeping it on circuit, but Ted Edwards all over the back of Adam Krekskand. When Adam rolled up to the circuit, sat in his sim today, he wasn't thinking he was going to be mirrors full of Ferrari there, but Ted Edwards righting his wrongs in race 1 just a bit, and he's running with it, and noticing rather interestingly, if you look on the timing tower, it's a hit of Adam Krekskand. I can promise you that's not true, because, well, we're seeing it right now. So a bit strange there, very, very wide for Lily Armstrong. No clue how that was held. That was unbelievable. Those quick hands there, Callum keeping him safe and out of the wall for a second time. Trying to get past Alarata. Basically has it there. Alarata's got it. Well, I was going to say got a slot in behind. A bit of a little bit of a bump in the rear. Things not going well for Lily Armstrong.
And this is absolutely havoc in this race right now. Jack Lily Armstrong, how he held on to that on the grass is unbelievable. On a gamepad, no less. But right now we're seeing sort of that benefit of that Ferrari Challenge car driving around the Porsche Cup car like he has DRS or a battery boost. As Lily with the better brakes just tags the rear end of Elarata. Just a small misjudgment of each other's brake distances there. Very unfortunate for Elarata. He had a very strong showing in the early part of race 1. I do want to give a quick shout out to someone I shouted out on the grid. I told you Ted Edwards learned a lot in that race 1, and he is clearly showing it right now. Buckets loads of pace and actually being held up by the Porsche Cup car. But we saw this in race 1, there was a lot of dancing between the Ferrari and the Porsches, sort of the mid-pack Porsches. But as the tyres heated up and as the tyres wore across this race, the Porsches did start to pull away. So I am expecting Chris K to start gapping Ted Edwards very, very shortly.
And it seems like in this middle sector of this lap, he's kind of already beginning to do it. Peter Varga looking racy again. It almost seemed like Varga took the best care of his tires throughout race 1, so perhaps he's trying to do that a bit as well here, though he's gonna have to push to get past Ted Edwards, another man that I don't envy being sat behind. He has a bit of a different defensive style to Kevin Boss, but equal efficiency in not getting by him. We'll see. Varga thought maybe he was going to try to go down the inside into Ingua, but no, we're all good so far. A bit wide on the exit, though. I noticed it was happening in round 1. Ted Edwards struggling on the power out of traction zones, and I think he's done it there. Sort of given up the inside as a result, but it's going to be last to the late breakers into turn 1. Varga does break a lot later. Is it the up and under? He didn't quite have the overlap. They touch in the middle of the corner, but Ted Edwards ends up with the better of the two. Ted, send indeed, says Ash Bibi from his box, and it was it was almost the perfect overlap. Callum, as I'm sure you saw, he went full power, but he had to back off to avoid the back of Peter Varga, and a little bit of touching. And what do you think? Kevin Boss, I think he's licking his lips a little.
Oh, you can almost guarantee Kevin Boss is absolutely loving A, watching this, but B, sort of the possibility of just capitalizing on this battle. We saw it in race 1, how this can change in an instant. Ted Edwards almost judging that sort of switchback to perfection, but just getting caught up sort of on the apex, not thinking he had the gap to go on the inside of Peter Varga. I did think I saw something quite interesting going into the final corner. I thought I saw Varga flash Ted Edwards into the final corner's braking zone, maybe to distract him to go a little bit deep, and it did look like it worked. So let's see if he gives that another try going into the final corner this time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the flash was perhaps not necessary, but I like the button. It's good. There's a famous, well, I think it's now become famous now. There's a voice line from yours truly that cannot be repeated on stream, but involves flashing and how I feel about being flashed. But we'll see. Oh, he thought about it on the brakes. As we cut back to Nico Kumpu, who it is a bit of a repeat of race 1, though Boardman wasn't able to hang on as long as he was able to in race 1. I think just Nico more comfortable, a bit quicker here around Kyalami, and maybe taking just a tad bit care of his tires. Or I don't know. We could see a late race charge from Andy Boardman if he really plays the tire game to perfection. But at the moment, going the way of Kumpu and Matt Malcolm poised for another podium. So we'll see great results across every field and some surprises throughout.
Yeah, Andy Boardman probably a little bit frustrated with sort of not keeping his pole position into turn 1. It seemed like he went far too much to the inside, allowing Nico to go wide, take the racing line, and just take that sort of corner speed into turn 1, essentially going around the outside and taking the inside for turn 2. You mentioned Matt Malcolm on for a surefire podium. I wouldn't be too sure. Theobald Roskam all over the rear of the Scotsman at this stage in the race. I do just want to quickly shout out a few things, Jack. Nico Kumpu actually won the Lambo ST Championship that we held not too long ago. He won in the Lion livery that Theobald Roskam is currently running, and I believe that was a season-long battle with Joe Gilbert, round after round, trading class wins. It was a truly incredible season, but something that we may be repeating this season long, sadly. Joe Dorber with the DC for both races. Additionally, it was Martin Laurent that won our Porsche Cup season, but Miso Stupner constantly had very, very strong performances in that Porsche Cup car. One person that isn't here today is Raphael Hull, who was also very strong in that Porsche Cup car. So if Hull starts turning up for rounds, I'm expecting a season-long battle between Miso Stubner and Raphael Hull. In terms of the Ferrari Challenge, our last championship, I can't quite find the data on that to tell you who we know is strong in those cars.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear, Joe Dauber. I think he is just having consistent internet issues. I sort of thought that the reason he didn't get to start the race was because he disconnected in the last race, but I'm going to assume it's because he had further internet issues and wasn't even in the session to take the race start. But he's back on circuit. He is going to get a handful of points for this race, I'm sure. And even if it's not 80% in this race and the last one, we'll probably get the points anyway. We're nice around here, and saying that. Oh my lord, the drift in the background for Lily Armstrong was unbelievable. Wasn't quite able to hold it as Varga goes wide at Cheetah, a corner you never want to mess with, and he holds it on. But Lily Armstrong, come race 2, it's not going particularly perfectly for them, dropping back into the field. I mean, only losing one position, well, now 2 positions as a result. There's Sfinkinus just ahead, and well, it was it clearly struggling a bit. Maybe a setup issue, maybe needs some tweaks. And the best news is, in the world, I have great recommendations for where he should go should he need setup, should he want to go faster, and that is none other than Coach Dave Delta, our setup and coaching partner here at RCI. And they have some of the best tools, some of the best setups, all you could need if you want to go faster in sim racing. And everybody knows it's commonplace, especially here at RCI. Faster lap times do begin with Delta, and we've got some other partners to talk about as well. And it's not just setups you need. Maybe you need a new rig. Maybe you're starting fresh. El Arotza over the curb, somehow saving it. I still imagine how these guys are able to save everything. Really, Armstrong's probably going to step around pretty easily. Greater braking efficiency from them. So hopefully, as the theme always happens, people start fighting as soon as I start talking about partners. Oh, it's going to take it to Crocodile for Lily Armstrong. And Elrond's not going to give that one up too easily. But if you are looking to start fresh, get a new rig, or just maybe build one that you've always been dreaming of, check out Ready, Set, Sim. Their RSS rig builder is a wonderful tool. Whether you can afford it, whether you can't afford it, you can build it on their sites. And if you're looking for some new direct drive hardware, I recommend Moser Racing. I've been racing with their gear for maybe close to a year now, and it's never stood a foot wrong. It is beautifully made. It is wonderfully priced. And if you're looking for not just sim racing gear, but trucking, maybe some flight sim gear as well, they have that all over at Moza Racing. Green Man Gaming is where you should go if you're looking for deals on PC games. I myself am always looking for deals, as we are. Save a couple of bucks where we can. They have all kinds of deals going on their platform, not just in games, but exciting new releases on the PC front. They might have a deal for you there, so check them out using the link in the description. And Pimax is the place to go when you're looking for some high quality, class leading VR hardware. We do have an exclusive discount code with them, so it'll sprinkle a couple of, take some pennies out of your cart, sprinkle a couple of pennies into our pot, and make everybody happy, because you'll end up with some fantastic virtual reality hardware. And of course, a special thank you to Motorsport UK for having us as a recommended esports community. And I did it, Callum. I did it, Ash. Are you proud of me?
Just to reiterate what Ash said there, we are very, very proud. Almost as proud as I am of Ted Edwards holding this sort of P2, coming back on to ACC. He's done a phenomenal job holding back what has been a charging Peter Varga, another driver who has shown serious improvement in the recent championships. Peter Varga absolutely flying at the minute on ACC, clearly showing it in this Ferrari 488 challenge. But will he be able to get past Ted Edwards as he's sort of getting a little bit squirrely on the exit through this sort of sector 1 section, again showcasing how difficult it is to get the power down in these incredibly powerful Ferrari challenge cars.
Yeah, I mean, they're up on power on the rest of the field. They're down on downforce, as I've said time and time again. I'm sure I'll be referencing the rest of the season because I'm fascinated by the, generally how a lot of people think about racing machinery. It's like, they'll be faster because they have more horsepower, right? Because, horsepower equals speed, of course. Not so. Depends on the circuit. Come the finale at Monza, maybe we'll be singing a different tune. And Lily Armstrong now trying, I was going to say maybe now trying down the inside of turn 10 on RCI Rata, but I think it's the damage Callum that's really holding him back here. He's sort of trying to get through. He's gotten through on Sphinkinus, so back on the podium for the Porsche Cups, but definitely maybe a bit of a race to forget for Lily Armstrong.
Yeah, race to forget, but he'll bounce back in the subsequent rounds. I can almost assure you, I did think he was about to go side by side through Cheetah on a Ferrari Challenge car there. That would have been incredibly brave. But once again, coming into T1, Ella Rata making a bit of an error. You can see Lily Armstrong tuck into the slipstream of the 488 Challenge and watch that car drive away.
It's actually not moving away as quickly as I would have expected, because Lily Armstrong was in the sort of wheel tracks enough to go for a send in the braking zone. Door closed in their face just a hair, but I'm wondering maybe running too much rear wing on that 488. Maybe Lily Armstrong, because of the damage, has a slightly less downforce and maybe has a slightly faster car. I don't know, but I'm sure Lily will come back stronger in race 2, and always a pleasure to have them on circuit. And I've since seen a lot more gamepad users in my commentary elsewhere, and every single time, Callum, I see them, I always mention Lily Armstrong, and I always refer to the fastest hands in the West, because I'm in disbelief every time I see it, and I'm impressed the same amount.
Yeah, he's definitely a local celebrity here at RCI, and an all-round incredible human being, if I don't say so myself.
I would agree. Incredible human beings. Lots of incredible human beings on circuit in RCI in general. And might I add, if you're looking to join a especially incredible group of people, that being the broadcast team, I'm not biased at all, by the way. I just want to make that clear. Not biased in any way. There are opportunities if you go into the staff vacancies channel here in our Discord. You can send in what you need to send in. No experience is required. Bring a good attitude, and that's pretty much it. We have fun in here. We try to put on a good show, and hopefully we'll meet some of you. And at the very least, join the Discord. At the very least, check us out on SimGrid. See if any of our events tickle your fancy, and join us. We are dwindling in our ACC representation. It looks like it's going to be full over to LMU for the near future. Always exciting stuff happening there. Always great racing happening over there. And I'm sure Kyalami, I don't even need to explain the Friday championship that we have going on when you, as a driver, have so much of a better view than I do.
You say that you had an incredible showing on Friday, but you're absolutely right. We do have an incredible sort of community here on RCI that we've been running for absolutely years. It is sad to see ACC sort of slowly dwindling down, but we are going to be running a few more champs on Mondays before we make the transition over. And I know you mentioned it earlier on in the broadcast, but what we have brewing for the next Monday Championship is very, very special. One which will see me back in a race car on ACC, I can almost assure you.
And hopefully Ash Bibi, as he mutters in our ears, that would be special. That would be incredible. A grand return from a bunch of favorites. And I'm sure, as I hope, it being a send-off season, I'm sure the greats will all show up. I mean, ACC has, whether or not you want to drive it anymore, whether or not you really want to love it anymore, it's special to all of us. It's special to me. I've sort of cut my teeth in commentary here on ACC and enjoyed so many great races. I started sim racing on ACC many moons ago, and whether you began on it, whether it's your, everyone's had a run with ACC talent. Everyone's sort of had some amount of experience with this great sim, and maybe we'll show back up for a good quality send off.
Absolutely, Jack. I feel like we're talking about some sort of emotional breakup here on RCI or something. I'm getting a little bit emotional talking about it. Probably not as emotional as Nico Campu is, sort of after what looks like will be two dominant victories here at round one of the Cup Car Cup. An absolutely incredible championship that we do have running here on ACC by the man, the myth, Kevin Boss as well, or as I called him earlier, Kevin Box, which I'm sure will stick here on RCI. But Kevin Boss has done an incredible job with the Monday Championships, and once again showing that what he cooks up here with sort of the Cup Car Cup, three completely different varieties of car, showcasing just how incredible the racing is here, with Lily Armstrong going side by side uncheated through one of the other Porsche Cup cars. He's going to get back on through the final corner. No, but incredible. Lily Armstrong just seems to be yo-yoing back and forth here, making a mistake, dropping back, fighting back through positions, making a mistake, dropping back, and providing some incredible moves and overtakes throughout the course of this race.
Yeah, and it's, as we said, in race one, it really seems to be going the way of Nico Kumpu at the front of the pack. It really seems to be going the way of Emma Platt yet again, leading ahead of a couple of Porsche Cup cars. Unbelievable pace. Is that going to be a circuit-dependent thing? Is that going to be the rest of the season? Honestly, I have no idea who's to say. And Miso Stubna as well, poised to complete this race in the lead yet again. And Varga and Edwards, I don't think have been further than a second apart pretty much the entire race. They've all but dusted the likes of Kevin Boss and Osi Elarata, but these two have kept some pace in the bag, kept some tires beneath them so that they can keep pushing towards the end of this race. We maybe have 3 or 4 laps remaining before we bring round 1 to a close. And for those of you wondering what our calendar looks like, it is 5 rounds, as I said. I've teased the finale at Monza, a bit wide for Ted Edwards. He should be able to hold it off. No, Varga's going to come back. He's going to try it around the outside. But, well, no, they're going to remain side by side. I would expect a slightly better exit for Ted Edwards, though. He wasn't as compromised through the corner. He will. Might be a late braking move. He doesn't elect to go that defensive. Varga's on the inside. He's going to try to brake super late. Edwards brakes even later, sweeps around. Does he have it? On the exit, he does. Very clean defense from Ted Edwards. Back comes Varga. I think he's starting to get a little bit impatient. He knows he's running out of laps, Callum, but trying to hold it round. And, well, I suppose... No, certainly not into sunset. I was going to say, he's really putting it on edge. And I fear that this, well, A, it's not going to stop until the checker, and B, this could end up in a massive crash.
Yeah, absolutely incredible racing from these two. Peter Varga finally trying to go all out, full attack here. And Ted Edwards placing his car in all the right places. Really done an incredible job to withstand the pressure from a fast charging Peter Varga, but this just showing the quality of Ted Edwards, and even after a little bit of a break, clearly showing that he means business and he's trying to secure this P2 position in race 2.
Yeah, and Ted Edwards holding them off still. And I believe we're going to be 2 more laps. Actually, might be 3 more laps looking at where Nico Kumpu is. He's coming through, just finished Sector 1. And so Ted's going to have to hold him off for a bit longer, maybe hoping that he can break away. He's kind of broken away just a tad out of the final corner and doing well. And I'll go back to talking through the season we have to come. More of this every Monday for the next 5 weeks. We go to the Circuit of the Americas, COTA, next week, which is a circuit that it's not a fan favorite, but it is a good circuit that it is a circuit that provides good racing. So many people, including myself, and I think I agree, not the driver's favorite. We head then.
Definitely feel that way. Definitely feel that way on ACC, but it's interesting because a lot of like in real life drivers absolutely adore that circuit.
Our racing drivers are mad. We know that, so that just proves the point. We're off to Valencia for round 3, and it isn't 2 more laps, it's 1 more after this. And a favorite in Cup car races of the past. Round 4, we go to Misano. And for round 5, I already said it a couple of times, but for those of you who weren't paying attention or maybe weren't listening, we're off to Monza for the finale. And oftentimes I feel like you don't end up with Monza as the final race of the season, but there's a very specific reason why Monza's on the calendar. And it has everything to do with the Ferrari 488 Challenge cars. Because anybody who knows anything about the Temple of Speed knows that it's just that. It's all about speed. And the missiles, being the 488s, are going to wreak havoc, I would imagine, Callum, at the finale. So that to look forward to at the very least.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Kevin Boss has cooked up an incredible calendar here to really showcase the strengths of each of these individual cars. Monza being a highlight with Ferrari Challenge plummeting down the straights, but also sort of the differences between the Super Trofeo and the Porsche Cup car, which are probably a little bit closer than we expected them to be at this round, but we'll see how that lines up in the sweeping corners of COTA next week.
Yeah, but this week, Nico Kumpu is getting ready to close the book, and it's 2 for 2 for him. Maybe he wasn't expecting it with how it's all began, but it worked in his favor. Nico Kumpu takes victory in race 2. A perfect start to the season for him. Andy Boardman second in both rounds. Not a bad start, but he's probably a bit disappointed by that result. Matt Malcolm took 3rd. Thibaut Roskam took 4th. And Miso Stubna is going to get ready to cross the line in a moment. 2 for 2 for him in the Porsche 992.2 Cup field. And I will shout out, since we're looking at him again, Matt Malcolm. He's done fantastically in these first 2 rounds. 2 podiums for him. A great result. A great result as well for Adam Krekske. He's managed to get 1 step higher in race 2 and finish 2nd in class. Emma Platt across the line in 1st ahead of him. That is one to fear in the 488 field. Ted Edwards held off Peter Varga towards the end. Kevin Boss has just crossed the line, and now we're with Lily Armstrong and Osi Elaranta. Maybe a pair of races to forget for them. Tatsvidas Svikidis is crossed the line now, and Mr. Mike Redford. That is not the line through turn 1, just to be clear. That is a 100 million G impact into the wall. Mike Redford crossed the line. Some mistakes, I think, plaguing him at round 1. And Joe Dauber, of course, the man with the least compliant internet in the universe, crosses the line at the back. So it is Kumpu, Boardman, Malcolm, Roskam, Stubna, Platt, Krekske, Edwards, Varga, Boss, Armstrong, Elaranta, Svinkinis, Redford, Patrick, and Dauber, your 16 finishers here at round 1. And it was a tricky start here in the comms box, but Callum, absolute pleasure to have you. And I believe you're gonna step away from us. But before you do, any final words?
No, thank you for having me, Jack and Ash. As always, it was always good to hop in for a quick comm session. Sorry for being a little bit rusty, and thank you to all the drivers today for providing some incredible entertainment. I'm off to go make all the social media posts for those 2 incredible races.
Yeah, Callum is one of our guys who does the most amount of work behind the scenes here at RCI. If it's on Instagram, if it's on TikTok, he has a hand in it. So thank you, Callum, for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you back in the box. It had been a while, and you were my sensei not too long ago. So a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here. We will move on swiftly to the interviews where first we're gonna talk to Mr. Nico Kumpu, 2 for 2 to start off your season. How does that feel?
It's a good comeback. I think I haven't driven in a month, so it was fun. It's fun to be back.
How do the Super Trofeos feel? I'm sure I would imagine you haven't really driven them too much, but as a whole, how do you find the car?
Well, basically, I think I've driven when we've had championship here in RCI. I think it was it well last year there was one championship, and after that I don't think I have driven this car. So not too much, but I always like this car. It feels good from the start, so
And
I don't
it
have a
sounds
problem with
good
it.
too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But I would be, yeah, no, I would be surprised if you said you had a problem with it given the results. I mean, I will speak of the elephant in the room. First, the victory, I should say, wasn't really looking like it was going your way in the first sort of half of race 1, but a man might have disappeared from your ranks. I mean, did you think that you maybe had the pace to come back at Joe Dauber, or were you just sort of well, not glad that he was gone, but you enjoyed the result as of him being gone?
Uh, well, I think Joe had the pace today, so I don't think I would have catched him unless he'd made some mistakes. But he was fastest today, I think. Uh, in my first race, it was a bit closer with Andy. I think I may have scared him into the breaking of the hairpin at 1 point or 2 points because I forgot my braking point to the hairpin, so I braked way too early, and I think we almost hit. But
Well,
otherwise, it was quite easy race, the second one at least.
yeah, you managed to get the move done into turn 1 at the start of race 2, so a bit easier to drive off into the sunset then. And congrats again on the double victory. It's fun to get to say double victory in 1 week, and next week will be the same thing. So best of luck then, and maybe we'll be talking the same tune next week.
Yeah, thank you, and let's see you next week.
We're gonna move swiftly back. I will leave Mr. Dauber for another moment because I want to speak to the man who finished in second in race 1 and race 2, Mr. Andy Boardman. V10 kept you company. You kept good company with Nico Kumpu for a while, but you didn't quite have the pace. Was that I suspected maybe you ran through your tires a bit too early, but what do you think happened?
Unlucky to Joe. I think he probably would have. Well, it had been between him and Nico, I think. So unlucky to lose the connection, and congratulations to Nico. I did have light graining on my front tyres at the end of both races, so I was just a bit rusty, to be honest, and making too many mistakes, sliding the car, especially in the breaking into the slower corners. I kept sort of losing the back end now and again, and yeah, just making loads of little mistakes here and there in the race. I got quite lucky with the qualifying lap. I think I somehow managed to hook up a decent, what was a very good qualifying lap for me. Yeah, but the race was, I made too many mistakes, and once Nico got in front, that was it. I just couldn't keep up. He was too quick for me today, for sure.
Yeah, I had a feeling that that I guess it's turn 2 at race 2, lap 1. It was pretty much a make or break for you. Uh, was your sort of intention to keep it cautious, or were you ready to put it all on the line to stay ahead?
I wanted to stay ahead and defend to some extent, but I knew it was going to be tricky. And just too slow at the beginning. I was too cautious at the beginning. And that was it. Once Nico got in front, he was gone. I sort of kept pace with him for about the first 10 minutes of the race, I think, and then that was it. I started to make the odd little mistake, and he just crept away then. It's the first racing I've done since the last championship, so I've not played any racing games at all. So just a little rusty, I think. Hopefully, I'll be a bit more consistent at the next race.
Yeah, maybe knock off the rust, find better favor at Coda, and who knows, a victory could come your way. Maybe you'll be fighting up with Dauber come good. But anybody you wanna shout out before you go?
Just you guys, obviously, and everyone that's turned up for the race. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and a pleasure to have you on the circuit as always on a Monday. And Mr. Joe Dauber, my condolences first of all. A mega pace you had, and just internet playing havoc on you.
Yeah. I absolutely love driving this car. The last championship, I battled Nico from start to finish, so it was great fun. But yeah, I think it's punishment for doing qualifying, actually, Jack. My internet is not used to it. So yeah. But it was. I love driving the car, and I love this track. So I thought I'd try hard this one, but obviously got the punishment for it. But I thought I'd rejoin at least, try and put in some fast laps. I know I don't get the points. I think I didn't cover enough of the race, but it was good practice for the next races. And the second race, let's call it research to see how easy it is to overtake certain cars.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw you at the very just sort of towards the end, having to make your way past a couple of cars. Well, I would normally say they're back markers, but well, you were actually a lap down from the rest of them. But for race 2, because I saw you were back in race 1, and we figured you'd end up back on the podium. Were you not able to start the race, or did you just disconnect a second time?
Oh yeah, unfortunately, a second disconnect. We have a super reliable internet connection here. First time it's been down in years, so bad timing, unfortunately.
Well, I wish you the absolute best of luck. Is it back to a regularly scheduled non-qualifying for next week?
Where is it next week?
Kota, Circuit of the Americas.
Fantastic track, yeah. Let's see if I can motivate myself, and then I'll qualify again, I think.
Well, a mystery. We'll see next week, and a pleasure to have you. Well, when we had you, a bit unfortunate about the internet. Hopefully, nothing bad plagues you for next week. And anybody you would like to shout out before you go?
The Vulcan Racing. Guys, it's always fun to be in the voice with everybody. Yeah, and congrats to Nico and Andy for P1 and P2. Actually, I didn't see who got P3. Was it Matt?
It was Matt Malcolm both times.
Congrats to Matt as well.
And well, if that isn't the most perfect segue I've ever heard in my entire life, Matt Malcolm, congratulations, double podium. I think this is the first time I've seen you on a podium. I think I could be misremembering, but I think certainly on a Monday.
First on a Monday, but definitely not a first here on RCI. I came into this today thinking oh god, practice 2 seconds off the pace, qualifying a second off the pace, race half a second to second off the pace. So it built on through the evening. So coming in with no practice, haven't been driven the car for a long time, I think it was a pretty good start to the season, especially with the lack of seat time in this sim recently.
Yeah. How did it feel coming back to ACC in general and stepping into the Huracan?
The best way I would put it is a pair of old shoes. It fits into you nicely. It's a bit worse for wear or a bit worn in, but it's always comfortable and you kind of feel it's great to relax in, and I think that's kind of the same at least for going into this sim, because it's I've spent the last 5-6 years on this sim, so yeah, it just feels like it feels great to be back in it once more.
Yeah, and it's great to have you as always, and congrats on the double podium. A really solid start to the season, I reckon. And anybody you'd like to thank, or any final words before you go?
Just want to shout to everyone in the Vulcan channel, just to thank them for just being in the voice call of everyone, especially everyone that I'm currently racing with in the Trofeo. I definitely probably will not repeat that again with P3s, because everyone else in this particular one is very fast compared to me. But yeah, no, I'm excited to try and battle with these guys here, but they definitely have the edge over me. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they can bring up for the rest of the season.
We'll just go over and cut Joe's internet cable. That's a good way to maybe find yourself up there again. Thank you, of course, for joining us. Best of luck next week at Coda. It's not everyone's favorite, shall we say, but I hope you have a good time there. Enjoy driving the car, and hopefully you get another good result.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see how it goes.
We'll move on back towards the 488 field. Mr. Peter Varga, was it second in race one, and
Yes, it
I
was.
believe, and then a fourth in
No.
race two, or third in race two. Sorry,
Yes.
everyone's everywhere. The 488s were truly a joy to watch today, and the fact that they were intermingling with Porsches as much as they were was a joy. But uh, how'd you find the car here at race one, or at round one?
I mean, it's a Ferrari. I belong into Ferrari, so that is all the good things I can say. Uh, I was thinking I have good chances to maybe win the Ferrari class, and then I saw that Emma Plate was racing, and all of my hope just went out of the window.
Yeah, alien in the 488, I must say, finishing ahead
Yeah.
of most of the 992 field, which is unbelievable. But hey, internet, go cut his internet is just the recommendation if you want to beat somebody now, as of Joe Dauber's disappearance. Please don't actually go do that, but maybe do. I don't know.
We'll
But
see.
how do you feel going into round two? How do you feel about Coda?
Uh, can I swear on this channel?
PG-13 swears yes.
Uh, no, if I speak, I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble.
Okay. All right. So you don't like it. You think it's a bit poo, shall we say?
Yes.
All right.
Let's say there are better circuits up for choice, I would say, but it's on the calendar. I'm gonna go and do my best. I have to say I'm quite pleasantly surprised with my speed among the Ferraris. So, yeah, it was great fun today, I have to say. I did not expect this much of a close fighting to be happening all the time.
If I were to have guessed, I feel like I would have expected the most fighting in Porsche Cup, just because that's what our most recent Porsche Cup season. I saw a lot in there, but the Ferraris were an absolute joy to drive, and I hope that continues, because it was spectacular stuff. Anyone you want to shout out before you go?
No.
Not even me? You don't want to shout me out? I'm pretty great.
Alright, Jack, you are a wonderful person.
Yes! Thank you, Mr. Varga, for being here. Pleasure to see you on the Monday circuit. As always, hopefully the pace stays good in the 488. Maybe challenge for some more podiums, maybe challenge for some victories later on in the season. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it was a pleasure driving as always.
Saving the best for last, no offense to anybody else, Mr. Ted Edwards. Welcome to the interview box. I know it's been a very long time. It's my first of interviewing you. How was it?
Sweaty. Sweaty.
That race 2, you really had a mirror full of Varga the entire time. I saw some excellent defensive moves from you, and
Hmm.
I know in practice you felt like you weren't really on it. You were voicing your discomfort, shall we say, with the Ferrari 488 at the end. But as you cross the line in race 2, how do you feel now?
Yeah, I got my pace back. Well, I didn't get my pace back. I found pace because I beat my qualifying time in race trim. Somehow, I don't know. But no, race 2 is obviously better than race 1. Obviously, going from 3rd to 6th in the first corner was not fun. Getting held up by whatever Porsche it was, and then saying some words, and then having to mute because I was shouting and I was in a voice call with the others, and I felt really bad. And I just couldn't get past him, and then when I did, I just couldn't catch the guys because it was just we're all on the same level sort of thing and aero wash and stuff. And then race 2 was obviously better. Just I just got rid of the Porsche straight away, and then was fighting Varga, and I said no, I want to be in front, and then I held onto my tyres longer than I did obviously in race 1. And then yeah, the plan was just to keep him there. I could see that he wanted to get past, and I was just going to shut the door. That's my corner. You can go away.
That's fair enough. But no, I figured that the biggest lesson that was maybe learned across the field was how to hold on to the tires a bit better, because it seemed
Mm.
like that was the
The,
deciding factor.
the thing with the Ferrari, I think all of us doesn't matter what setups we've got. The brake ducts on the rear are full, max out, but they're still overheating. Not too bad, but enough that even in TC1 you are slipping out of corners. So it's a handful. TC1 is quicker, but then once you do 4 laps, they're just sort of dying, and it's just like, okay, right, I need to chill out. And all I did was just chill. As soon as I got in front of Varga, I was like, right, time for me just to keep him there. He's going to try and get his nose in. I think at the top of the hill, the hairpin, he nudged me, and luckily I didn't do a full spin.
It was hard racing between the two. You say you
Mm.
chilled up there. It didn't look very chill, especially after you said it was
Well,
sweaty.
the last 3-4 laps, that was not chill. That was that was so
Elbows
because
are out.
normally when I'm on for a podium position, I end up in a wall. And today I didn't, which was something. But yeah, tried ACC again yesterday after a year, which the last thing I did for thing was an endurance. So
Bit of a different style today, and bit of a
yeah,
different style in
completely.
this season. Well,
You
welcome
know,
back to ACC. Welcome back to the podium. Welcome back to being on the interviewee side of everything. And any final words? Any shout outs to give?
I just want to say well done to everyone in the race who did finish. I know Redford had the spin at the top of the hill, which was just horrible for him. I did for once. I felt sorry for Redford. Normally I don't because he robbed my race number, but it is what it is. That's in the past. Good
Doesn't
racing
sound like it's in the
Varga.
past.
Swav. Good racing Varga. That was fun. Thank you Ash for broadcasting. Thank you Jack for commentating. And just thank you for everyone who watched.
Well, thank you for joining, and thank you to all the drivers, and congratulations all around. Cup cars are not easy at the best of times when you got 3 different cup cars all sharing the same circuit. It can get a little spicy, as we saw over the last hour or so. A spectacular start to the season, I think. if I do say so myself. We will be back week after week till the season is done. We're heading to the Circuit of the Americas next. So if you want to find us, well, same time next week. Ultimately, if you want to join the grid, there are still spots. There is a chance that you do not get to pick what car you get to drive. Kevin Boss is doing his best to keep everything as even as possible, so he may force you into, I believe it will be a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. So, with that in mind, if you still are interested in joining this grid, it looked like a whole heck of a lot of fun. I think you should do it. And other than that, one final thank you to all of our partners: Ready Set Sim coach Dave Delta, Moser Racing, Pimax, Greenman Gaming, and of course, Motorsport UK. Thank you from myself to all of you who are watching. Thank you to Ash Baby for giving us pretty pictures and pretty sounds, and being our Monday guy for so long. And thank you to Callum, who came in just later. Thank you to Austin. I'm sorry your internet did not work today. I know you're gutted about it. I'm gutted for you. And we're looking forward to hopefully having you back for next week. My name is Jack Mays. And from RCI, from us at RCI, this will do for us on a Monday. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and we will see you all soon.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow. Go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. The miles they fade, but they don't die. Faster now, the hours fly by. Sweat and gears, hearts in sync. On the edge, on the brink. Clock ticks down, stakes are high. One mistake, we kiss us goodbye. Don't slow down, we're not done. Finish line for the strong ones. Engines scream alive tonight.